We are live. Here we are. This is another episode of the Stay Curious podcast. I've got Mr. Van Saechao with me. First time on a podcast?
Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh. He's doing great already. He asked me an interesting question just off there before we started recording, and the question was, what did you just ask me? Oh my gosh, this is what bombing sounds like. This is what bombing sounds like. I forget too, honestly. I vaguely remember what you asked me. If we wanted it to sound a certain way.
Yeah. Just like the volume and.
Right. Yes, that's right. Okay, so he asked. He's just his first time being on a show. He's hearing his own voice, so he wants to know like how quiet or loud it should be. And I was telling him that it may sound loud to you right now. Like I've got my mic all the way up to my face. But if you think about how people listen to podcasts, usually it's on a phone. Like I know for me, I'll just put my iPhone on and walk around my house or whatever. So it's not like they're listening to stereo quality headphones usually.
Gotcha. Okay.
So like all the things that we hear now, it kind of get lost in translation when someone else is listening to it.
Yeah, I was like, man, how do people do this all the time? It's so loud in their ear, like.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. But thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So, what did you like think being on a podcast would be like? Did you have any expectation for it?
You know what? I mean, honestly, like just from my experience and what I've listened to or watched or heard.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw out Tim Ferriss.
There we go.
His stuff is obviously super professional.
Mm-hmm.
But the quality's good.
Yeah.
He obviously edits a certain way, and he's able to keep it very professional.
Right.
But also at the same time, when I hear him, he has a casual conversation with all these elite individuals.
Right.
You know who. I feel like you won't get a side of their story or their voice.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of the media. So he's able to just sit down with these people and be like, hey, can we just talk and just tell me more about yourself? And
yeah.
It feels so relaxed. I'm like, man, that is so nice, to gain some more insight on people like you want to get to know more about, but it's so hard, where's that opportunity?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. And that's kind of the essence of what I want to do with my show. What I feel like I've been doing is you know people in a certain light, like you and I. Like I know you from work, and I know a little bit about you outside of work, but like not a ton. So this is a cool opportunity, for you to get to try out podcasting, but for us to also sit down and share a few minutes just about kind of each other and what we're up to and what we like. But yeah, again, that's kind of why I wanted to start this whole thing, was because I felt like I and my apologies to people who listen to the show. I know I've said this so many times, but I think it's important and it's like a core value of the show. But like I've gained so much from other podcasts that I feel like it's almost me doing a disservice if I don't try and contribute something as well to the podcast world, if you will. But also just to I know I've had so many genuine conversations with people, like not on a podcast, just in the living room. And like you walk away from that moment, you're like, wow, that was really cool. Like that was a special moment. Like it would have been awesome if I could have captured that somehow, i.e. a podcast, and distribute it out to other people so they can maybe learn something from it. But yeah, that's kind of the origin story of the podcast, if you will.
No, man, it sounds like you've got a very genuine story.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you're doing. You definitely know how you want to connect and be able to replay that back.
Right.
Especially for other people as well.
Yeah.
So, dude, it's totally awesome. Like, I'm digging this, man.
Oh, thanks. So you feel like you're in a professional setting, right? Like you're almost in Hollywood, you would say?
Yeah, I mean, this is my first time, so it's all so new to me. But,
yeah.
But just like right here, this very simple setup.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, this sounds very like an actual interview or report, or like it's legit. This is where it's at.
Yeah. It's pretty cool to see what a few pieces of basic equipment can do for you, and then you create the content and you have fun, and it really can allow you to do a whole lot of stuff. But yeah, it's nice to see. And what I like about it, especially because I've had like 5 or 6 like first time people being on a podcast, which is cool because it kind of like peels the curtain back for them. It's because they like, you hear a produced podcast and you're like, damn, that's cool. But then when you actually like step into the passenger seat, if you will, of a podcast, you're like, oh, so this is kind of what it's like. Okay, cool. This is actually really easy. Like I didn't think it would quite be this way, but here we are doing a podcast.
Yep, just like that. No, this is crazy.
That's awesome.
But I'm glad you were willing and able to bring me on.
Yeah, man. Of course. I like I said, I like getting people exposed to this world because I have fun with it and I really enjoy it. So to like anything, most other people do, being able to share that with other people is kind of part of that passion, is being able to pass it along to someone else. Yeah, so I mean, I definitely appreciate you sitting down. Any van wisdom or anything like you just want to get out there into the podcast world, or even just like first impressions? I guess you've already talked about that, but like, would you be down to do another podcast? Not even necessarily with me. We can definitely do that, but just like this sort of opens your world up. I know we're in a guest studio right now for the Stay Curious podcast, and you were geeking the fuck out over all this equipment in there.
No, for sure, man. I'm always open and very, very curious. And interested into what other people do, what type of talents do they have? How did they even come about? What led them to where they are? Yeah. And what did they have to do to get there? I think it's just super interesting. Yeah. Like I'm here today, like this. I would never imagine this happening. So. Yeah. This is crazy. No, I'd love to do this again.
Sweet. That sounds great. Okay, parting words. Do you want people to follow what you're doing? Anything you want people to creep on you on Instagram? I guess is what I'm really asking you. Or anything like that? You don't have to. It's cool.
Yeah. Right now, I got nothing. Since my first time. I'll prepare for the next one.
No, you did great. I appreciate you coming on, and yeah, we'll have to set up some more time, and we can dig a little bit deeper, and I can get to know the van behind the van, a little bit more about Van Saechao. But yeah, appreciate you coming on. It's been a real pleasure having you on.
Oh man, thank you so much, dude. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Cool, you got it. That's going to be an annoying intro. And we're back for the Stay Curious podcast.
I love it.
I've got Matt Pearce here with me. How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good. How are you, Kellen?
I'm good. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming on to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. This is a guest studio here. Yeah, this is pretty cool.
I'd thank Elliot. So.
Yeah, I will. I'll thank him in just a bit.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But you have also not been on a podcast, correct?
No, I've never been on a podcast.
But you're not super unfamiliar with this world in the sense of you've like been on some songs.
Yeah, I'm on 2 songs. I did one with Elliot.
Yeah.
And then I'm actually a background vocal in another one. So
really?
Yes.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know. It's on Spotify.
Is it?
So, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
That was actually he was recording when I heard him singing, and so I was like, I know he's recording right now. This is the perfect time. So I burst in and I did whatever part of the song he was doing. At that
really?
time. And he's like, I'm keeping that. So
really?
He threw it in as a background audio.
That is awesome.
So that was a lot of fun.
That's super cool. Do you sing like? Did you used to sing before that? I mean,
Yeah.
outside of like, everyone kind of sings in the shower and stuff, but
yeah. So I was in a choir growing up
Okay.
in school.
Yeah.
We did that, and I'm the really quiet, awkward kid that like, hey, you're really good at singing. I'm like, no, I'm not, sort of thing. So.
yeah, no, I've and we've never had this point with the mic. That's smart. We've never had this exact like exchange, but when we were on the trip, I kind of heard you like singing to yourself a little bit, and I was like, damn, I think he can sing. And I don't know why, I don't know what we were doing, but I didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
But that makes more sense now that you've been on this.
Was it when who was it? Lexi, I think. I had pulled out the ukulele and I was doing a tune, and she said, "Oh, do you know any songs?" I was like, "I think I know one."
Yeah. It might have been then, but it's actually kind of cool because like yourself and in our little group at work, like you and Courtney and Elle all can sing like really well for the average person.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can sing. I sound like dog shit. I'm never gonna be able to sing good, and that's fine.
Well, you have a great podcasting voice, so.
And that's fine. I've come to accept that, but that's cool that you've kind of got that. Do you plan on doing more stuff, maybe, or
possibly? We've talked here and there about doing stuff together. And
cool.
Who knows what time we'll do?
Yeah, that's awesome. Sweet. Well, what do you? So being around all this this equipment and this setup is I mean, it's obviously it's literally your home, so it's not like weird to you, right?
No, it's not super weird. I mean, I get a little nervous, but
sure.
I'm now at this point I'm fairly comfortable in what
we're
doing. So
yeah, and nerves are normal. It's like any sort of quote unquote performance, if you will. It's just kind of for whatever reason having the mic and the recorder on it kind of shifts our mindset a little bit.
It totally does.
Yeah. But yeah, I want to touch on another thing is I appreciate you like opening up your house to us. We did for the listeners and viewers, I suppose, tonight we did kind of a team dinner, potluck style dinner, which I actually haven't done. I don't even know the last time I've done one of those. It's been a long time. So it's cool to like come together with friends and do that and you to offer up your spot. It's just really great to like have that sort of extension from someone you work with, a friend. It's just cool to have that sort of opening up. So I just want to thank you for that. That's super cool.
Hey, yeah, no problem. I'm really bringing people into my home. That's part of the reason we got the house to start with.
Really?
Like it was the way it's laid out. I'm sure it was fairly obvious. The living room area is very open. All of the house on this side is very open, and then everything else when it comes to bedrooms, bathrooms, all that stuff is secluded back in the back. So when we looked at houses, we were looking for open, so when we could host for whether it be family or friends or church, whatever the case is, we wanted to be able to do that. And
that's cool.
That's always been a huge passion.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you come from a bigger family? I can't remember. Is that like part of what you guys did, or is that just something like you personally?
Yeah, it's more of a personal thing.
Nice.
I don't know. Like I grew up with two brothers.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. But
okay.
All my extended family. I come from the South, so you walk outside. Hey, look, it's cousin Clem. But yeah, no. My family, I didn't grow up with a super huge house. I mean, it's probably about maybe tiny bit bigger than this, with 5 or 6 of us in there.
Okay.
So, but and it was growing up. They actually did additions onto the house to make it bigger.
Got it.
For more space because parents are pack rats. So. But no, it wasn't something that was super big for us. But when we'd do family reunions, we'd rent out a big space.
Yeah.
So, but I wanted to be able to bring that into my personal life.
I
want people to come in.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And I can even like tell that just from working with you and like like we're in a training sort of phase right now at work, and like you like to try and include everyone and whatever it is we're doing, or like when we went on the trip to the coast, like you were very much sort of a natural leader in that environment of like bringing everybody, whether it was dinner or whatever it was.
Thank you.
So it's cool to see that that's important too. Yeah,
that means a lot.
Yeah,
really
of course, man, of course. And I like to think, in sort of a weird way, like me doing the show and wanting to like include people is sort of like welcoming them into my world.
Well, and I see
in
it
a
like
way.
That. I totally see it like that. So,
yeah,
it's super cool.
Nice. Any parting words? Any questions you have for me I know
Not
it's
that I can think of.
okay.
On the spot.
Yeah, it's all
No
good.
Parting words I can think of on the spot either.
Yeah.
But just I really appreciate you having me. I really appreciate getting this opportunity. It's super cool.
Yeah.
I listen to so many podcasts. Like
nice.
I get to be on one. That's
Yeah,
really
you can.
Cool.
Yeah, you can tell people soon. Like, hey, look me up on iTunes.
That's right.
I'm on a podcast now.
I'm on a podcast.
Sweet, man. Well, I appreciate it again, and we'll have to create some more time so we can get a little bit deeper into it on another show.
Sounds good.
All right, sweet, man. Thanks.
Hey, thanks.
Rausch, 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 and that's the intro to another portion of the Stay Curious podcast. I have with me Elliot. I don't even know your last name, Elliot.
Miller.
Elliot Miller with me. Thanks for popping onto the podcast.
No problem.
Have you been on a show?
Never been on a show.
Never been on a show. Well, welcome to a podcast and mine. But you do a bit of recording, so this is like home to you.
Yeah.
It's literally your home, but in a figurative sense, it's like home to you. Cool.
My spiritual home inside a microphone.
There you go. What is it like spending so much time sort of like creating this stuff? And we were briefly talking offline a few minutes ago just about you have the moment where you capture whatever it is, your music or your content, but then like really fine-tuning it, honing it down. You know, I almost think of it, I mean, this is just my take, but I almost think of it like a more aged craft, like blacksmithing or making like a sword, you know, from hammering it down. I almost think of it in that sense where it may not take like the physical effort of swinging a hammer against steel, but that same sort of concentration and just time to really get your weapon, for lack of a better analogy.
Go out and slay all the
That's
consumers.
right.
I like it.
Yeah, your musical weapon. Would you say that that's like somewhat accurate in terms of?
Yeah. I feel that with the concentration, there's to really put yourself and your feeling and your love and passion into it.
Yeah.
You kind of have to lose the world. And usually that takes a bit of struggling with it and then getting tired for no reason, taking a nap, waking up, and then, I don't know, you just kind of forget the rest of the world. And then you can really focus on it without any distractions.
That's a really good, that kind of brings something to my mind. It reminds me of the term ecstasis. Are you familiar with that?
No, what is that?
Okay, so that is sort of the base of the word ecstasy, but it more means like that sense of like laser focus onto one thing. But we have all these other practices that we use, yoga, meditation, psychedelic drugs. Like we have all these other ways to like get into that sort of state. But sometimes I think it's like you said, it's just you like really spending time and focusing on it enough to where you like just drop into that flow state, or that mindset where you're just like you're with it and you can really spend time with it.
Kind of like you gotta show your brain that this is the only thing that matters right now.
That's right.
After a while, you lose everything else.
The tricky part is your brain obviously is very smart. It's hard to outsmart your brain, so it takes a lot of effort to do that. Cool. Well, what type of so you create music among other things? It seems.
Yeah.
What do you have like a favorite type that you like to, or is it just kind of whatever's in the moment or whatever you're feeling?
It's a lot of inspiration comes from what I listen to. I started with a lot of rap and hip hop, and I still listen to a lot of rap and hip hop. But sometimes I'll just come across some EDM thing that really kills it, and I'll get the feeling I really need to copy that. I need to figure that out, get that in my blood,
I like it. Really immerse yourself in it. That's awesome. Have you always been more of a creative creative type where you like to do this sort of stuff?
Yeah, hopeless creative. There was like some years of my life where I thought, oh, yeah, I'm going to get all into business and like accounting and medical stuff. I'm going to figure this world out and like get filthy rich doing, really helpful stuff. And then, I'm sitting in front of like an application for some med school thing and for like an hour. And then I'm like, oh, crap. And go back to making beats. Nice. Or like comics or whatever.
Nice. Are you from the Portland area?
No, I grew up overseas in Kuwait.
Oh, cool. Right on. So even so when did you come to America then?
For college, 2008-ish.
Cool. Right on.
Yeah.
So did you find like what was your experience like creating sort of far away from the US? Is it any different than your experience creating here? I just wonder because I've never spent any time outside of North America really.
I'd say the most different is consuming. Because really what you take in is what your mind becomes.
That's a good point.
Like if you listen to Arabic traditional music since you're a kid, you're going to that's what you're going to imagine.
Sure.
When you think of music, you're going to make Arabic traditional style stuff.
Got it.
And so I do have like some ethnic flavor, and that's really come across helpful because I work with some Indian guys, and there's like other clients who want like Arabic trap.
Oh, cool.
And so, all the ethnic stuff that I've heard as a kid really helps me there.
Nice. That's awesome. Arabic trap. That sounds interesting. Because when I think of trap, I think, like Future or somebody that we get here in the States. But
have you heard of the artist MIA?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, who did like Paper Planes, Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
That's sort of like that trap but ethnic feel.
Oh, got it. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't know. I think that's a pretty good segment. What do you have any questions for me?
Oh man. I mean, I have some. Like, what's your workout routine? But what's your diet? What'd you go to college for? I'm super interested in that because I know you said you went.
Yeah. I actually have a degree in criminal justice.
What?
Yeah. So I got inspired by CIS. Nope. Is that right? CSI. CSI, this show back in the day, which thought I was going to be one of those crime scene investigator people.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, once I got further into the degree, I decided that I wanted to go into, like, the FBI, something like that.
Take it deeper.
Yeah, huh? High-level government agency. So getting closer to graduation and, like, understanding more about what that world is, that's extremely hard to do right out of undergraduate.
You mean to get into it?
To get into it.
I
You essentially have to
yeah.
be a perfect student, which I was far from. And even then, it's like not a guarantee.
Perhaps have you ever considered like independent investigator sort of work?
I haven't. No, that work is very interesting, but I haven't considered that. I actually about a year ago, I was like, oh, I never did apply to the FBI. Maybe I'll just apply and just for the hell of it. But I have, first of all, I'm a very honest person. And I've also imbibed, that's not the right word, consumed lots of marijuana in my lifetime.
Yeah.
So that's still a big no-no in the government's eyes. Yeah. Like if you say yes to that question at all, automatic, like, nope, sorry.
I hear that like all the dispensaries around here have to do all their taxes in cash and stuff like that. And I'm like, wow, that's terrible.
Yeah. So yeah, I have a degree in criminal justice. I haven't actually used it yet.
Keep the dream alive.
Well, the job I just got, like we have sort of a like an investigatory sort of team. So there's potential to use it there, I suppose. But
cool.
But yeah, criminal justice was it. It was really interesting. I actually took investigative classes from like a state trooper in Indiana where I grew up. So that was kind of neat to hear about like real cases and what they actually did. And super cool.
I expect in those sorts of cases, as in most jobs, like my job, whatever, there's like the interesting parts that everybody is like excited about, and then the mundane stuff, which only the diehard people are into, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and even just seeing like the processes that a police force uses, you know, you know like the main stuff, like the headline type stuff, but how they like go through and do their jobs and everything like that is really interesting. Yeah. So what about your degree? Did you go to school?
Yeah, it was for contemporary classical music composition.
Cool.
Yeah, making sheet music that doesn't follow any laws that you understand.
Oh, got it. Was that difficult?
It was very different. Yeah, trying to like ignore everything you know about music and make something that most people would think sounds offensive.
Oh, got it.
But is actually really creatively inspired. You know, it's a whole different world of music.
Oh, okay.
I have been around the world of music.
Cool. Yeah, I noticed, I'm assuming it's yours, but when we come in the front of your house, there's a piano. Well, there is a piano, but then there's something else next to that.
Oh yeah.
I have no idea what that thing is.
That's an organ.
Okay.
It's like, I don't even think it must be electric. Okay. That thing. It's like 3 different keyboards.
Yeah.
And like a pedal and a bunch of buttons and a couple airplane cockpits and
2 keyboards.
No, there's one for your feet.
Well, 2 keyboards and the pedals.
Yeah, but I mean the pedals, it's like a small octave keyboard for your feet.
Yeah, it looks pretty intense.
It's crazy.
So you know how to work that thing?
Fat chance. I know how to play on that thing.
Nice.
Like, mess around.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, man. Well, I think that's a good segment. I appreciate you spending some time with me and getting to know a little bit more about you.
Yeah, it's been fun and getting to know about you too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll have to come back over so we can have a little bit longer sessions and discover a little bit more.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah, get some background music.
Yeah, there we go. We can,
early 90s
we
style.
can maybe throw in some Marky Mark behind this.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
we'll have to do it again.
All right.
Sweet. Thanks.